Today we're going to talk about being a Christian of character. Now, in my Bible reading, just my daily Bible reading, I came across the story of Daniel, and I read it again, and this time something caught my eye or grabbed my attention. We're finna read it. So let me introduce y'all to the story. Daniel was a man favored by God, and the Bible says, there was four of them. And it says, as for these four children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Now, the four that he's talking about is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But right now, it said, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Now, listen at this. The king had a dream. He was being troubled. He couldn't sleep. He was troubled in the spirit. And so he asked all the magicians, the astrologers, to come in unto him and to tell him about what he dreamed, what it did mean. And so none of them could do it. He got mad and he said he wanted them to kill all the magicians, all the astrologers. He wanted them to kill them all. But Daniel said, hold up, take me to the king. I can clarify or interpret what this dream was about. So Daniel goes in and he does that. The king says, let's get to it. The king answered unto Daniel and said, of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods and a Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldst reveal the secret. Then the king made Daniel a great man and gave him many great gifts and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested of the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat in the gate of the king. So, we just talked about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and if you've heard that story, you know that they was thrown into the fiery furnace because they wouldn't bow and worship the golden image that the king had set up, and God rescued them out of it. But we go a little bit further, and these people want to find a fault in Daniel. They want to, because he's been set high up, and they want to find a way to degrade him, demote him from the position that he's in. And this is what they say. This is why I say Christian of character. We're going to talk about being a good Christian here in a minute. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. So that's what they said. So this is what they did. They said, make a decree. They told the king to make a decree, which is a law, that nobody can pray to any other God besides your God for the next 30 days. Now the king loved Daniel because of what Daniel had done, how Daniel interpreted the dreams. He loved Daniel. And without thinking, I guess, or without knowing what they was trying to do, he signed it. And so Daniel prayed, just like he had always done. Let's go to it. And after the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed, and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. So then they was like, well, it's Daniel. Let me fix this. Daniel is the one that's been praying to another God. In our case, the one true God. But in their case, they were mad that he was praying to another God. And they found a fault in him because of his prayer. Now, I don't know about you, but if the only fault somebody could find in me was that I prayed 3 times a day to my God, I feel like I'd be a pretty good Christian, don't you think? I'd be in great shape. I'd be in better shape then than I am now. So, however, they go on to throw him into the den of lions. And the king could not sleep that night. And it says he prayed and he fasted. And the next morning he went early to find Daniel. Right? And this is what God will do for you. He said, Daniel, wast thou God able to deliver thee? Let's see. Let me find it. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither was instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning, and went in haste into the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions. Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me, for as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. And then it goes on to talk about how the king was glad that God had delivered Daniel out of this den. But then the king said, everybody who tried to find fault in Daniel, now y'all got to go to the den. And so he put them in, their wives, their kids, everything, the whole family. And then the lions obviously ate them. But to tell of being a good Christian, regardless of what was going on, same with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, what they had going on around them, regardless of what a man-made law said, they were going to worship their God. Regardless of how people live in today's society, that could be as simple as people around us living a certain type of way, people around us doing a certain type of thing, they going out partying, whatever the case may be, alcohol, drugs, whatever, and they're doing all these things, and it's the normal, it's the cool, whatever, and they want to try to force it upon us. But regardless of how somebody else lives or how the world says we should live, to be Christians of character, we should not bend, nor break, or fold to the temptations of this world, just as Daniel did not. And you see that when you stand for God, God will stand for you. God delivered him out of the lion's den because he stood for God. He opened his windows and he prayed 3 times a day, just as he always did, because that's who he was, and that's who God was to him. When you have a personal relationship with God, when you have something with God, and it's deep down inside of you, no matter what comes in this world, no matter who tells you to do what, no matter who tells you to go where, you're not going to listen. You're not going to fold to it, because God is bigger to you than this world could ever be to you. But in their cases, this world is bigger to them than our God, the one true God, can ever be to them. Not because he's not bigger, not because he's not greater, not because he's not stronger, but because they won't let him. So to be Christians of character, we have to stand on our convictions and stand on who God is, even when it's not normal, even when it's not popular, even when it's pushed against in today's society and in the world, from your friends, whoever it may be, your family, your loved ones. When they push against you, you stand with God, and God will push against them. That's what it means to be a Christian of character. You stand on the conviction that God has given you, and you keep doing what God has told you to do, and you keep walking in the way that God has told you to walk, regardless of what anybody on this earth tells you to do. So if you like this type of content, like and subscribe. There's a video here, a subscribe button there. I appreciate, if you watched it far, I appreciate you for watching, and until next time, peace.